So we've done 31,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
We have...
And first year? Or?
Yeah, first year.
Okay.
Which was kind of low thanks to COVID. Normally we do about 50,000 kilometers a year. So for us, that's a pretty quiet year. For some people, that's a lot. We haven't spent anything. Our brakes are still almost barely used.
Because the system
brakes using
system
the electric
brakes,
motors.
you
That's
barely
exactly
actually
it.
use the physical braking.
That's exactly it. So our tires, instead of rotating tires, we have our summer rims, we have our winter rims, or wheels, depending on what your level of annoyance is with that term. But we swap them out. But apart from that, we don't do anything. We have had 2 things go wrong with this car since getting it. I hit the arrow, I go to charging. What went wrong with this car the first time was if I wanted to charge, you would obviously come over here into this window and I would open the charge port, which is obviously where you stick in the juice thing. It would work here inside the car,
but it won't pop.
But I used to be able to grab the charger itself or the electrical receptacle, approach the car, and it would automatically open, and it stopped automatically opening. So we decided to go into the app, and forgive me here, I have my mask on so facial recognition isn't going to work.
That's something gotta be fixed.
Yep, we go into the Tesla app, and I would go into charging, and I would open up the charge port.
Yeah.
And I would say it's working. So what I realized is, okay, let's do a service call. Go into service, and it's looking for an appointment. So I would schedule a service. And essentially what happened was I scheduled the service.
Yeah.
I described in it, hey, the charge port doesn't open when I approach the car with the wand. In 3 hours, they said, are you available to chat? I said, yes. A mechanic tech sent me a text message saying, hey, Brian, do we have your permission to look at the logs of the car? Yes, you do. Okay, great stuff. We're also going to schedule a face-to-face appointment just in case. My wife and I were leaving the next morning to go to Mexico. So we hopped on the plane. We're sitting on the tarmac, and as luck would have it, Tesla arrived at our house. The car was parked outside.
Oh.
Do we have permission to log into your system? Yes. Do we have permission to enter your vehicle? Yes. He went into the vehicle. He must have done something in the back end.
Yeah.
He said, okay, it's fixed. And by the way, we noticed that you do not have a recall, which is some mud flaps to stop rock chips from chipping the body. So we left those inside the vehicle. Have yourself a nice day. So the entire service call was done in our driveway.
You don't even have to be there.
Don't even have to be there.
So, and that was under warranty?
That was under warranty. That is a basic repair. They will come to you and they will do something basic, usually software related or something that you can visually see. Something a little bit more major was around the 30,000 kilometer mark. We realized that the car was not heating as quickly as it used to. We did a service call. They asked us to bring it to a service center. So the appointment was 9 a.m. at the service center. So I approached at 9 a.m. I logged in to say that I was there. It told me where my loaner car was. I got out of my vehicle. I got into the loaner car after leaving the key. Nobody there. So I left the key inside the box, and maybe this was the COVID process, maybe it was a regular process, but I arrived, I dropped the key in the box, they told me where my loaner vehicle was, I hopped in the loaner, and I drove off.
That's it.
They let me know in 3 hours, hey Brian, it was a really basic fix. We went ahead and changed something in the back end. Some of your settings you may have to redo. However, aka a hard reset, right?
Yeah.
By the time I came back, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, even though it only took a few hours for them to check it out. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I got out of the car,
left the key?
Left, not even the key because it was coded to my phone. I hopped into the car that was ours and drove off. So up till now, I still haven't seen a repair tech. And up till now, I haven't been inconvenienced other than...
You're probably in Mexico. Somebody
entirely possible.
Somebody in his dad's basement in Mexico is fixing your car.
There you go. The thing that I did appreciate was...
That's actually cool, man.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
I remember speaking to a friend of mine who's a mechanic, and his reaction was, do you realize how many jobs were lost in that? And my response were...
Do you realize how many new jobs that was created with jobs that are higher skilled?
Correct.
Probably higher paid.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the mechanic who's in the back, he's not annoyed with having to talk to the customer. He sends a message, and he waits for me to reply. Hey, Brian, we noticed that there was actually a screw in your left rear wheel really close to the edge. Do you want us to investigate pulling it out and seeing if we can patch it?
Or
do you want to swap out the wheel, or do you want to leave it alone? My answer was, hey, I'm switching to my winter setup anyway. I will take care of that in the off season anyway. His answer was, great stuff. I didn't notice anything else wrong with the car, but we didn't drive it because we didn't ask you for permission to drive it, and it didn't need driving for that repair. Have yourself an excellent day. Great stuff. Thank you so much. And that was that. So I found that a much more productive conversation with someone who may or may not have even been a mechanic. If you walk into a dealership, you have a mechanic in the back and you have a service tech who's in the front. For all I know, I was talking to a service tech. But I liked the experience because it was quick. It was unobtrusive. When I want to check my text messages, I check it. When I need to have my car fixed, if it's not serious,
and by all that time, you had a loaner anyway.
Exactly, I had a loaner anyway. So for me, a much more productive experience from a service standpoint. Once again, the stuff that you don't experience going to a dealership, because a dealership is not the actual manufacturer.
Right? Yes, and also
clearly on ice going backwards uphill.
Yeah,
she slid a little bit, and not a big
and then the front wheel kicked in.
That's exactly it. So let's go to driving mode. The steering has actually been in comfort, which cheeses me. It should have been in sport, so we did all of that in the soft mode. Right? I can change some of the characteristics of the car right now. Sport mode, when I want to have fun. Literally chill mode, that's like dropping it down to around the 300 horsepower mark. Let's keep that all the way up here in fun mode. When you're coming to a dead stop, do you want the car to creep? Like you taking your foot off your gas pedal and rolling through traffic.
Like having the feel of an automatic gearbox, leaving it drive.
Exactly. Do I want the car to roll? I take my foot off of the accelerator and it's just going to roll as if you had the clutch depressed and you're just rolling until mass becomes zero. Right? Hold mode. I want to drive, and when I take my foot off the accelerator, it will decelerate and eventually come to a dead stop. Based on the way you like to drive, you can develop that the way that you want. Track mode. When we first purchased the car, this did not exist. This was added afterwards because people asked for it. Model 3 performance drivers, you'll find some YouTube videos of guys in England who track these. That track guy was avant-garde and forward-thinking. He installed chargers at the track. So now you can go to the track, flog it, recharge, and then when you're done, drive home. Right? So, do you realize that? Yes, we do realize we're going into track mode. So the first thing that you'll notice is that there's a new sound. I don't know if you can pick that up.
Yeah, I can. Well, let's see if the microphone does, but there is a new sound,
Right. So what that's doing is that's preparing the battery from a temperature standpoint to be in optimum use.
Discharge.
Optimum use. This is your G meter, so that as you're going around the track, you can see what G's you're pulling. I have other things to do when I'm on the track. I don't really care about my G meter. There is a track timer, so you set where you are at the finish line, bloop, and then as you're going around the track, you set bloop. That is an entire lap, and it will let you know if you're going faster or slower, just like other cars that are out there. The part that I find the most entertaining is in track mode. Let's go back to driving. Let's customize it. You can now start to adjust your handling. So we did a lot of that driving in 100% rear-wheel drive mode. So what you felt as grip was not actually grip, that was just Brian mode. Ooh, yeah, boy. Right? So now we're in 50-50 mode, which means we could actually take it faster if Sam can actually handle that. So I can make this a front-wheel drive car because my mom is going to drive the car and I want it to be as predictable as possible. I want to be in rear-wheel drive mode and I want to just have a little bit of fun and smoke the tires and do all kinds of things. Give me no stability whatsoever. Make it rear-wheel drive and make it feel like there's a little bit of stability. Or return it back to kind of stock mode would be 50-50 and somewhere around there.
Okay.
Right? Regenerative braking, post-drive, like even though you're in an electric car, your cool down lap is important. When you come back into the pits, you want the car's components to return back to normal.
Yeah.
There is still technically radiators on these vehicles, but they're designed for smaller duty, cooling some of the other things that are here.
Mostly the battery pack.
Exactly. Yeah. You've got it. Use the dash cam for laps. Those are all things that are factory. Awesome. These are things that most people add on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
these are some of the reasons why I purchased this car. I cannot change the characteristics of a car without pulling over, grabbing that weird little fork, adjusting my suspension, adjusting a series of things for the car to feel different to me. I hit a button and it does what I want it to do. There are pros and cons to that. Part of the journey of having a project car is going through that and learning about your car.
Yep.
But I've been through that. I've learned my car. I don't necessarily want to do that with my daily driver, but I do want the ability to have my car feel like a project car when I want it to, and feel like just a everyday plain Jane vehicle when I don't want it to.
That's cool.
Race preset.
Yeah.
My drift preset.
Yeah, this is what people need to see. Drift.
So it's set for me to hoon a little bit.
Yeah.
I won't do it on winter tires because we will likely die.
And what's the other one?
So this was a friend of mine who didn't believe in electric cars being fun. So I set up a preset for him and I took him out for a drive that he will likely never forget. It was all set for grip.
Yeah.
And that grip was designed to make him absolutely pee himself. So in areas that you would normally hit the brakes in a corner or ease off, I purposely would lift my leg up so that he would see me hitting the accelerator even more. And he screamed like a little baby. I would love to show you that video, but he told me he would murder me dead if it ever saw light. He's buying an electric car. Technically the Cybertruck when it comes out. If you want to know what the Cybertruck experience is like, for most of us, when you first saw it, it was, what is this? This has to be a joke.
Yeah.
The next morning, you're waiting for the punchline and you realize, I think he's actually serious. 2 days later, I was like, you know what? I can understand why some people like it, but it's not for me. I think it's butt ugly. By the end of the week, I was like, you know what? This angle is pretty cool. I actually kind of like it. By a week and a half later, I was on the website looking at it. I was looking back through the videos. And then I realized, you know what? I can't think of any other badass vehicle that I would want.
Yeah.
I have a truck so that I can carry whatever I need, whenever I need to. I carry a series of drones, some small, some extremely large and heavy, that are difficult to fit in a car or SUV. I normally have them shipped to the location, and I fly. Now I can carry it myself and save that cost to my business. 2, the truck has 3 motors and should be able to do 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds for the tri-motor.
That's scary, man.
Which means I'm annihilating almost everything under $200,000 and under. You're getting eaten by a truck.
Yeah.
You add the fact that it can carry 6 adults in it, and then I have the ability to zone out and do whatever I want to. I used to be a motorcycle guy, and one of the most annoying things was going to the track, pulling the ramps out of the truck, attaching it to the rear tailgate, and carefully trying to load my bike up. And we've all seen rookies fall either out of their truck or the bike falls off of the ramps.
Expensive mistake.
Exactly. To be able to see the truck drop its rear and have the ramp embedded in the tailgate, that's just common sense. Things that happen all the time. Why do we need to wait for one manufacturer? After all these generations, why did it take that for it to finally change? And you think to yourself,
That's another one.
Yep. And we wave at each other just like Jeep guys. You think to yourself, there's a lot of things wrong with the Cybertruck, but there's also a lot of things right. And I believe that the automotive industry just got complacent.
Do you think the Cybertruck can infiltrate the contractor industry? The people who drives around in their trucks and, like a plumber or electrician or a
100%.
roofer.
And I'll tell you exactly why.
Why?
My best friend Clem lives out in Ajax. He'll probably say it's Pickering, damn it. But Ajax, Pickering, same.
With the other yellow car?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
So he has a excavating business. Excavating. You understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
He pulls his...
Dude, there's a lot of money in that business.
Yeah. So
It's
he pulls his machine from where he is in Pickering to go and do work in Mississauga. He does it in a Ram 1500. The fuel cost to pull his trailer with his machine in his Ram 1500 is absolutely huge. If you were to upgrade to a diesel version of his pickup, obviously you have the
85,
increased
90
cost.
grand.
Exactly, minimum.
Yeah.
Right? If you start adding some of the most basic of features, even more. So now he has this diesel vehicle. He's still paying for fuel. He's still paying for oil changes, maintenance.
The diesel
etc.
maintenance is a lot more than gasoline maintenance, especially to do with the DEF system.
Exactly.
That system is troublesome.
Yes. We all know that there are ways around the DEF system. We're not going to talk about that right now.
No.
We're just
That's illegal, by the way.
Exactly.
Anything you do with that is illegal.
Exactly. So you go ahead and you do any of those things and that's illegal, but he's dealing with the added cost of the vehicle. He's still paying for fuel. He's still paying for maintenance. He's still paying for a variety of things.
Yeah.
If he were to have a Cybertruck, he can pull that thing back and forth. Pennies on the dollar.
It's 15,000 foot.
15,000 tow capacity.
Yeah.
He would have to go up to a 2500
Yeah,
series.
2500 series truck, right?
Exactly. So he has all of that. He has the ability to have a quick truck when he wants it. He has autopilot when he wants it. He gets to his job site a whole lot more refreshed. Anyone who's a contractor, anyone who's a plumber, anyone who works with their hands, there's nothing worse than that drive home at the end of the day. You've been cracking at it since the crack of dawn, wherever you might have been, construction site, at a home, whatever, and you're driving home after the long day of dealing with annoying people beaking in your ears. To turn on autopilot, I cannot even tell you how much of a recharge that is to your system for less than that diesel truck. So will the contractors go to it? Hands down. The hard people would be the people who would drive a 3500. There's no replacement for that kind of torque and power. But that's not what Tesla's going for. Tesla's going after a guy like myself. I had a Chevy Avalanche, a convenience pickup truck that can carry a lot.
There's a lot
That's
of
right.
panels.
100%. There's actually a guy who owns a Dodge dealership at the corner.
Yeah.
Has 2 Vipers, the SRT 10 pickup truck, and a Prowler. Usually during the summer, all laid out in his driveway.
Holy shit, that looks interesting.
Yeah. That's the smarter way of doing it.
Yeah.
And that may actually be the municipality and not that landowner.
Could be, because it's hard to get any building permit in this part of town.
That's right. That's right.
Man, I'm struggling to get a 2 garage. Like, I want to get a workshop.
Yep.
And I want to have a room for the guys to hang around.
Go a little bit further north, because that's what I'm looking for.
I already bought a North Bay.
That's a interesting choice. Once I get my Cybertruck, that for me is the ultimate daily driver. Utility, costs you next to nothing, right? I have the range to be able to drive all the way to Montreal on one charge.
So, 1,000 kilometers, eh?
I would say more 700 to 900. Because you have hills and mountains and things like that.
That's gonna be the killer, I think. The range.
You know what? That's the reason why I want that on top of this. This is a great car for a lot of things.
And I guess you'll still keep this. Right?
Yeah. The wife drives this most of the time.
Okay.
Right? She had the E-Class diesel. I had the ML diesel. And when the Cybertruck was announced, I put my money down on the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
And I'm driving the E-Class diesel and she's driving this.
How do you like that E-Class diesel?
Love it. That's an interesting vehicle to review as well.
Yeah.
It's Brabus tuned with an upgraded turbo.
Oh.
300 horses, 610 pound-feet of torque.
See, you never talked about it.
I never talk about it. People look at that car and they're like, they see it in the summer and it has the gold wheels on it and they're like, oh, it's just a diesel. And I turn it on and you hear, I pull up to my driveway and you hear the turbine still spooling.
Man, those diesels, some of them push like 40, 45 PSI, right?
Yeah.
Easy.
So I could be in 3rd gear on the highway, stab the gas pedal, and leave 11s.
Wow.
Torque, right? That car scares people a little bit more than this, because this, they've heard stories.
Yeah.
That E-Class, they're not even ready. I will never be able to sell that car. The exhaust is done on it. It doesn't blow any smoke. It doesn't roll coal.
Yeah.
But
I hate the rolling coal.
I think that's.
I hate it with a passion.
There's no reason for it. But that's the diesel version of gas-powered cars shooting flames, right?
Yeah.
People go, oh, it's cool.
So I bought another Skyline.
Nice. Skyline, not GTR.
Do I look rich?
With all the things you're buying, you could buy a GTR.
I'm not a big fan of parking my money in one. I already got married to one woman.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So, no, I bought it because it was cheap enough.
Cool.
I already
R32?
Yeah. One of 935 ever made.
It's not a GTR, so that doesn't matter.
It's a GTSD, but it's yeah, I know.
I respect it, but it'll never be a collector's, right?
The GTSDs?
Unless it's a GTR. It's like saying a Mark IV Supra 2JZ GT. Sorry, GE.
G, yeah.
No one cares. They swap that motor out quick fast, right?
Yeah, but those ones are I was looking at one yesterday. GE with an automatic.
Yeah.
Right-hand drive, asking 33,000 US.
Yeah, I would do it.
Like, really?
Yeah. And then swap in a 2JZ GTE.
So that 2JZ these days are 10 grand
minimum. Needing work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then if you have to get that GetTrack 6-speed, that's like 15.
Yep.
So you're looking at another 40.
So as someone who has had many Supras, my favorite Supra is the Mark III. People look at
The
me
7
like
and
crazy.
GT?
Yeah. So I would do what I did, which is a Mark III with a 1JZ.
So the 91, 92 Mark III.
That's right.
Yeah. Those were, okay.
Give me a Mark III with a 1JZ, and that thing can turn, it can handle, it can do so many different things. A Mark IV Supra, I'm not bagging on it, but people think that it's this, and it's this. If you want to do third gear highway pulls and annihilate everybody, that's the right car. You want to go through those twisties over there?
No.
That is the wrong car.
It's big.
Right? It feels weird. Right? I'm not saying you can't, but that's not the car for it. You'd be better off with a Z32.
Yeah.
And people who try and make a Z32 a highway murderer, it's the wrong car. Absolutely wrong car.
Yeah.
In my opinion. You want corners, get a Z. You want straight line, get a Supra.
Yeah.
But some people are salmon and swim upstream.
Some people are sad. You know what would be a really nice car is that the Celica Supra.
Yeah.
With the 2JZ GE out of an ICE300.
Chassis doesn't like it.
No?
Oh man. That chassis is good for. It's almost like the Mark IV. It's good for a straight line. You start to make that thing twist.
Really?
It doesn't want to turn. Then it wants to turn too much. So it has snap oversteer.
Speaking of snap oversteer, I gotta fix my MR2 this season.
You have an MR2?
I have an MR2. You haven't been watching my videos because every video I specifically say, somebody please buy an MR2 from me.
I really want an MR2.
It's red.
I almost bought one before my first Z, and I chickened out because I thought that people would look at it like a kid's car. But there's just something about that car every time I look at it, and I'm a sucker for pop-up headlights, except for the Z31. I love MR2s, I really do.
So, this is a rare car, the one I have.
Okay.
And you're gonna laugh at me for it.
Stop it. Please tell me it's the turbo.
It's not a turbo. And do you know MR2s came automatic?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know until I saw mine.
Yeah.
So it's an NA automatic with a sunroof, not a T-top.
That's weird.
I know.
I didn't even know that was possible.
No idea. And it's not a custom, it's a Toyota sunroof.
Wow.
So,
but back in those days, Toyota used to do some pretty interesting things. So
I had one of the rarest RAV4. I had a two-door coupe, Toyota RAV4, two-door coupe, 5-speed manual.
Yeah.
Convertible.
What?
Yep. Convertible. Like the back will fall down.
Wow. I didn't even know that existed.
I looked at the ad. The guy wanted, it was a 99 RAV4. The guy wanted $1,250. I went there with $1,000 and I bought it.
What?
Yep, I bought it. I drove home.
That's the one with the plastic cladding on the side, right?
Yeah. The first gen.
Got it.
I brought it home. I needed a radiator, a bunch of other stuff. Like, I spent like $600 in it. Drove 60,000 kilometers in a year and sold it for $2,500.
There you go. I believe it.
I actually made money on it. Like, putting 60,000 kilometers.
You gotta love that.
Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I know it has been a long one, and please hit the subscribe button and bell notification. I will go back, sit down with Brian, because he has a very interesting Mercedes that we need to talk about. So smash that subscribe button and bell notification for more awesome content.